Alright, live. We need to see if we can go back a little bit because I maybe I don't want. I don't recall a whole lot. This is two. This is not what the only. Hmm. I don't think we want to go from the last. Well, we might want to go from the last autosave.
I guess we can see where it puts us.
Yeah. All I know is he was being stupid and he killed somebody because I don't know. He wanted revenge.
From what I remember, he killed Magnus McGilded. So, well, I shouldn't say. It starts off with him selling government secrets through Magnus McGilded with his dad's um, music box and discs that he had him make. Dad figured it out, went to do the drop off the last time, probably to confront McGilded. McGilded kills the dad. He finds out McGilded kills the dad. He orchestrates McGilded's death, but then figures out I can still be on the hook for state secret selling. So then he, like an idiot, breaks into the pawn shop instead of just buying the music box with the other disc that had already been forfeited.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We could also see if the history thing
True.
is like active.
This might be a very, very short stream.
Yeah, so that looks like it's after the whole confession thing.
This is him recounting how he killed McGilded, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's literally just ending right before. That was the omnibus and paraffin.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only thing that I wasn't remembering. We have ads. No ad man because StreamerBot is not launched. Not update. You broke last time you updated.
Gesundheit.
Alright. It is. I've been playing Helldivers, and you can't pause that game, so I had to move him out the way of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
40 seconds.
You enjoying Helldivers?
I am. It's had some interesting updates. I think they finally got the balance okay. I need to check out the new War Bond.
Okay.
So far, I don't like any of the energy weapons they've put in the game at all. They don't seem viable.
Gotcha. I heard everybody got mechs in the game.
Yes, we did. And now it is a thing that we can get and choose as part of our loadout.
Cool. Is it
fix the exploding thing?
No, not yet. It is in their known issues though.
Gotcha. Is the mech thing kind of like Armored Core mech, or is it more like Metal Gear mech?
Kind of Metal Gear. It's just a walking biped.
Gotcha.
Basically, the way it explodes is you turn right, and the mech itself is not whitelisted. So, if you're turning right, it spawns the missile kind of in front of you, but then your left shoulder overlaps the missile, and then it triggers the collision by exiting your body, and then just explodes.
That's really funny.
Yeah. It's not a hard thing to have just not had happen, but you know,
It is still funny though.
yeah,
Well, I should say I shouldn't say it's funny. It's funny to watch and not
yeah.
have it happen to you.
From a game design perspective, it is it's funny, but it also is just a huge oversight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway. Ah, yes. There was indeed no mention of it in the man's trial 2 months ago. Clearly because it had been removed from the scene of the crime.
When I realized it was missing, I remembered something. Something from the first time I dealt with McGilded. This is the first of the 2 discs, and the music box you need to play them.
Well, look at that now. What an ingenious little invention. So then, as promised, 10 guineas for you, young man.
What's this? Winterbank's pawnbrokery?
Aye, 'tis a pawnbroker's ticket, so it is. You can use it to redeem an article I've deposited there for you. There's no need to give it a name. Just hand over the ticket and tell the Finn the watchword. I've put a jewel in it. I've put a jewel in pawn for you. It'll fetch a good 10 guineas if you sell it. So it will.
I've never heard of a pawnbrokery being used in quite that way before.
Have you not, Mr. Graydon? London's pawnbrokeries are very useful places, you know. Each one is an extremely secure vault.
There's a lot of dots.
Many dots.
So I knew that if he'd taken steps in to hide his disc, it would be in that pawnbrokery somewhere. And that on the night he killed my father, he must have entrusted the ticket to someone else.
Yes, to Gina. I remember now that when we first met you at Windbanks that afternoon 2 days ago, you had a description of Miss Lestrade written down. How did you know who you were looking for?
From the trial. That pickpocket's testimony was clearly peculiar. Anyone could see that. I realized immediately that she was another of McGilded's pawns. That he must have threatened her somehow. I was fairly convinced it would be her who had the ticket. So I started to make some enquiries. I had a strong suspicion the girl would come out of the woodwork on the redemption deadline.
And he was absolutely right.
And yes, sure enough, she did. All I needed to do was wait until the girl went to Winterbanks to redeem the articles. But unfortunately, she redeemed only McGilded's overcoat and the one disc that was in its pocket. The all-important music box was the second disc inside was missing. Because it had already been forfeited 2 days earlier. But I was unaware of that fact. Had I not been, I could have avoided my nighttime excursion.
Meanwhile, as our investigation into the stolen government secrets was progressing, we picked up on the fact that McGilded was involved.
Inspector, you've recovered fast.
My orders were to recover the stolen information as quickly as possible. So we started gathering the fellow's possession and examining whatever we could lay our hands on. We had a full-scale investigation going on at the yard, but we had to keep it as quiet as we could.
Then, when the inspector here took the disc from me in the pawnbrokery that day, I became nervous. I was sure the music box and the second disc were still there in the shop somewhere. So I knew that it was a race against time. I had to find those articles before the police did.
So that's what prompted you to break into the place that same night. With the help of your old friends, the Skulkin brothers.
What happened that night in the pawnbrokery, I can only describe as a nightmare. While Nash and Ringo were searching the counter, I'd located the music box I'd sold to McGilded on the shelves and forfeited articles. And the second disc was inside. Yes. I slipped it into my pocket with a very deep sigh of relief. But then, something entirely unexpected happened. What are you doing in my shop?
How fast?
Ask questions slightly before shooting. A gunshot rang out in the shop and I felt a sharp pain in my left arm. The broker fired his gun and the bullet pierced your limb. Yes, exactly. But unfortunately, I decided to bring my own gun with me that night, just in case. Before I knew what was happening, I'd fired back. The man had already turned to flee. I hadn't intended to fire in his direction, much less kill him. I'm not sure if I believe that,
Yeah.
honestly. But unfortunately for both of us, the bullet hit home.
Darn old, inaccurate technology.
I mean, with what's his face, Winterberry dead, he's no other person to say the story. So,
Mm-hmm.
It struck him in the middle of his back as he fled through the storeroom door for refuge.
A sorry, sorry tale.
It all took place in the blink of an eye. I don't imagine Nash and Ringo even realized what had happened at first. I was terrified, so I fled. And that's the whole story. That's everything that happened at Windibanks on that wretched night.
Many dots were had. Oh.
everybody's just kind of looking around.
Yep.
Earlier you called McGilded a monster. A man who used his wealth and influence to distort facts and escape justice for the crime of murder. What tragic irony. For what you have done is exactly the same. You've become the very monster you saw and despised so deeply in McGilded. Yes, I think I have.
He became Anakin. He became the thing he very sought to destroy.
Sand.
He was supposed to bring balance to telecommunication.
Well, this has been a long and exhausting trial. However, it would seem that at last we have arrived at the truth. Inspector Gregson, what of Mr. Ashley Graydon?
He's been restrained, my lord, and is being escorted to the yard. He'll be charged with the murder of Mr. Windybank. and the stealing of government secrets.
Very good. And you, Inspector. Regrettably, you will have to face charges yourself.
Yes, my lord, of course. I shall be written out of the book post haste.
It transpires that you were complicit in helping a criminal escape justice. That fact remains, whether or not you were doing so in the line of duty. The crime is a serious one, Inspector, and inexcusable.
Now, to the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade.
Yeah.
It is time for the final adjudication. Is the jury ready, Foreman?
Yes, sir. Gathering up squadron standing by, sir. This is really it now. The last push, the final call, the finishing whistle. My men are ready to deliver the verdicts.
Watch them all give guilty.
I mean, they could still do that.
If they say guilty again after all this.
Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You will now declare your final decisions to the court.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
That's the stuff. I'm off the hook. Finally, Bruno, you finally managed to do it.
Finally is the word. I really wasn't sure if we'd come out on top for a while there.
Susie was right. You are the best lawyer in the world. As a student.
Miss Lestrade, I'm not finished with you yet.
Yeah. What are you looking at me for?
Before you start enjoying your freedom, there are certain other crimes to consider, Is it really a crime if she lacked agency?
I mean, they could still say it.
2 months ago, in my courtroom no less, you gave false testimony, did you not? And in relation to the trial today, not only did you unlawfully enter Windibank's pawnbrokery, you also attempted to abscond with Mr. McGilded's property, it seems.
She did say she was never going to steal it. She just wanted to see it was there.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's talking about the disc, the music box disc. Right?
I guess?
Well, because she was going to sell the music box disc. Because technically she wasn't the one that put it into the pawnbrokery.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
steal, no. Abscond, yes.
Yeah.
Filch, if you will.
I'll never done the other sort. It's mine, you hear? Mine.
Of course not. It's not like you were gleefully wearing Miss McGilded's coat in your cell yesterday or anything.
Oh, and just when I was getting excited for throwing a party for Ginny this evening.
And turning our attention to the defense. Determining that when played together, the music box discs contained a message in Morse code was... Well, it was certainly a most unexpected revelation, Counsel. Is he gonna cheer us?
Quite so, my lord. The prosecution was caught entirely off guard. In fact, I think we should applaud my learned friend's courage here today. I propose a toast. To demanding that government secrets be disseminated before the entire courtroom.
Huh? Very sorry about that. It was the only way I could get Inspector Gregson to admit what he'd done, so... Who?
Who is that?
I don't know.
Maybe Gregson? Maybe Sholmes? Oh.
Oh,
You.
it's her. It's about the sounds produced by the music box before. I do wonder if that was really Morse code at all.
What are you saying, madam?
Oh, well, it's just that I'm really rather fanatical when it comes to Morse code, you see. So much so that the whole world seems to be covered in dots and dashes to me, in fact.
Goodness, madam, an unhealthy level of obsession one feels.
Back off. But I must say that, in my opinion, the sounds produced by those two discs were nothing more than that. A meaningless series of two different tones.
What?
That doesn't make any sense, though.
It could have been, like, encrypted with a cipher
Well,
or something, I guess.
right, like that makes sense, but it doesn't make sense for her to call a meaningless collection of two tones.
Well, she's a telegram operator, maybe not a cipher decoder person. So maybe she's just like, these don't make
She'd
sense.
be able
This
to like
isn't
register
words.
it as gibberish, but not necessarily tell what it like means.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't Morse code after all.
Hmm.
My lord, the defense would like to listen to the music box again.
Are you off your nut? How many times do I have to tell you? Those discs contain ministerial secrets, sunshine.
This courtroom is not an appropriate forum to discuss the nature of the government communications. We know McGilded conspired to trade national secrets with our enemies, secrets acquired from Mr. Graydon. Now that the man has admitted to his crimes, we have no need to pursue the matter further.
But it's really going to bother me. Miss Lestrade,
Yeah, my lord.
that which you have seen today here in this courtroom has been extremely disturbing.
Falsified evidence, intimidation, perjury, a grim catalog of depravity.
An appalling experience to befall any child.
Come in. Ain't nothing I don't see most days in the back slums.
I beg your pardon?
If you're weak, you pay for it. That's just how life goes. You pick yourself off your bootstraps.
Gina.
But look, I reckon I'll work for something out today. Our world ain't fair, but if you want it to change, you gotta stop the song. You gotta change it yourself.
Oh, that's a very laudable lesson, I would say. I eagerly look forward to the born-again Miss Lestrade never gracing my courtroom with her presence again. I just wait, she'll probably be back next game. No.
She'll show up in the Japanese courts next game. She'll go to Japan.
Yeah. It's not gonna be his
Like, how did you
courtroom.
get here? Well, you know, where there's something to filch, you'll find me.
It would be funny if, in the next game, the judge here actually does get moved all the way to Japan so he can display via, example how their court systems work.
Yeah, that
An
would be kind of cool.
international exchange program, you see.
Yeah. Now, with regard to the murder of Mr. Pop Winderbank, proprietor of a pawnbrokery business on Baker Street, I hereby declare the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, not guilty.
Ooh, raining confetti
British
and
gumshoe out
fireworks.
here. Never mind, it's just Gina.
Yeah, there's like a concerning lack of security here.
I know, right? That is all. Court is adjourned. Monk.
On a personal note, I must say you've surprised me, my Far Eastern friend.
Oh.
Despite being a Nipponese, you saw through the pretense into the malice that festered within the Englishmen. And at the same time, saw through the grime to the surprising heart of your English client. You have a curious talent for judging character, especially considering our very different cultures.
I don't think there's anything curious about it. Whether we're from the Empire of Great Britain or the Empire of Japan, we're all human beings. We're not so very different on the inside.
You know, I took this case for one very simple reason. To lock swords with you once again here in the courtroom.
You did?
When I encountered you for the first time 2 months ago, it reminded me of toasting friendship and trust with another Nipponese, only to find my trust betrayed.
So that's why you're racist.
Through you, I hope to look into the eyes of the man I once knew and try to understand.
You mentioned something similar earlier today. About total betrayal at the hands of the Japanese? What happened exactly?
Well, you may ask. And one day when the time comes, you will learn the answer. Whether you like it or not.
Oh.
Come back
Is
for
he
Ace
his
Attorney
best friend?
Chronicles 2.
Alright, then I'll wait for that day if I must.
Coming to be known as the Reaper of the Bailey, and my retirement from service 5 years ago. It gives me cause to wonder if our meeting has some deeper purpose. So, farewell, my learned Nipponese fellow. Until we meet again.
I wonder how big his budget for replacing his wine goblets are.
No idea.
They're just cheap plastic party goblets he got at Costco.
That's why they're so easy to break.
Does he draw on the gold embellishments by hand?
Yeah, definitely. Because plastic's not really a thing, so it's just like meh. It's like paper on the outside glued to make it look like, because we never really see the inside.
That's true.
17th of April, 5:24 p.m., the Old Bailey Defendant's Chamber. It's done. It's over at last. But where Iris disappeared? Where's Iris disappeared? Yeah, where has, I guess.
Ah. Oh, that's him.
We scared each other. Congratulations, Gina. I knew it all along. I knew that you were innocent.
Well, I did what you said, Mr. Nara Odo. You believed in me right unto the end. You're as old as your name.
What's thought about it? I told you I had faith in you, didn't I?
No one ever has before, see? I promise, I mean, properly.
That's awful.
I figured something out today. All my life, growing up in the slums, I never trusted no one and nobody. That's just 'cause I've been scared of being stabbed in the back or shot. I mean, the more you trust someone, the more it hurts when they let you down.
Yes, I think I can understand that. Oop. I was doing something on a different screen and it decided it wanted to do that. After all, I had a taste of it in that trial 2 months ago. I chose to trust someone and paid for it. And that betrayal left a big scar. You know though, Gina, I worked something out quite recently too. Trusting in someone else is really an exercise in learning to trust yourself. When your gut tells you it's the right thing to do, and your trust is rewarded, there's no better feeling in the world. I think I have you to thank for reminding me of that valuable lesson.
Oh, well, if you say so. Don't make a fat lot of sense to me, though.
I'm trying to say that putting my faith in you, Gina, has been a real pleasure.
But crying out loud, pack it in. I suppose I sort of feel the same way. You make me blush. I mean, sometimes trusting someone else is,
Thanks.
That's the snake guy.
Yeah.
Dead snake, yeah.
This is the way I see it, Rinosuke. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself.
After this experience, I'm starting to feel like I understand what you mean, Kazuma. Am I living up to your expectations? Am I turning out to be the lawyer you believed I could be?
No, you let me
Question.
die.
If he's Snake, right? Who's the one that's not Snake but is also called Snake?
That is not as specific as you might think it is.
Well, so the one is. I'm assuming the one you're doing right now is like the Snake that's the one in Smash, basically.
David Hayter.
Who is the old Snake?
So, Snake is voiced by David Hayter pretty much exclusively, except for Metal Gear Solid 5, where it's Kiefer Sutherland.
All right, so that guy, Kazuo's dead friend, is David Hayter, and then Keith Sutherland is Naruhodo. Easy. That's how this all works.
I guess.
Sure. Whatever you say, Mr. Ads Man. Coming and bringing ads into our logic.
Yep. Ads bring the bacon, though.
Yes,
hope.
they do.
You enjoy streaming, Mason?
I do. It gets stressful sometimes because I tried to do this more for myself than anything. More as like a thing that I would just want to do as personal project. And create a space for people, but finding out how to navigate your own brain when you're not doing too great, but you're still trying to keep the consistency of it. Like, it's harsh sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think overall I enjoy it. It's a huge learning experience.
Gotcha. Well, if you ever need to talk, always send me a message.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's same with you as well, TJ and Patrick. If I ever talk to him again,
Mm-hmm.
he's hard to get a hold of, honestly.
Yeah. Pardon the interruption. Who? Oh, Sholmes. Who I thought it was.
Dressed as a Bobby.
Apparently, but no, wait. He undressed as a Bobby.
So that he redressed as a Bobby.
Yeah.
Perhaps he just likes their clothes.
But what the deuce does a man have to do to be noticed around here, my dear fellow? That voice. It's too late for that voice now, Mr. Naruhodo. I've been standing here patiently in the corner of a room for an eternity. Yes, it was me all along, I would have said when you finally noticed me. But you people, with your incessant babbling.
Mr. Sholmes, it's you.
Yes, it was me all along, you see.
You know, it'd be real funny if they didn't actually have his model there for the first shot of them.
I'd assume you'd been taken back to the hospital, to be honest. Indeed I was, but I managed to escape again. Oh. I happen to be aware of one or two foibles of the doctor who is tending to me. I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily issued me with a leave of absence. How very above board. But enough of my adventures. That was a very fine victory, Mr. Naruhodo. Your tireless efforts justly rewarded, I feel. Congratulations, Arinoto. As a close friend, I tip my hat to you. Oh, thank you.
Some great detective you are. Great at being cold as ice, baby.
Have I irked you in some way, Miss Lestrade?
Well, you've been having a snooze here, and I so been. Some of us have been having to fight for our lives.
Ah, well, that bullet did cause me to lose a substantial amount of blood, it's true. No, it didn't. Sorry.
I mean, the shard did.
True. It did kind of explode. It's just the bullet.
The bullet did actually hit him, but it shot a glass shard into him, basically.
Right.
The doctor poking around probably also didn't help.
Yeah.
I mean, he was looking for the bullet. What else was he gonna do? So,
So, I have indeed been feeling somewhat cold. Not perhaps as cold as ice, but, well, have a feel. Could you take your hands off my neck, please, Mr. Sholmes?
Feel how cold I am.
And in some way, I suppose, congratulations are in order for you too, Miss Lestrade.
what's that supposed to mean? Oh, I'm so sharp-hearted.
Well, naturally, it isn't my intent to alarm you, but... an acquittal in a trial with that particular prosecutor is perhaps a little precarious? Well done, Mr. Sholmes. Not alarming in the slightest.
The Reaper, you mean? Got anyone found not guilty in a trial he was working on? Ones that did anyway. Is that it?
The very point I was trying to make. As exemplified by the fate of Mr. McGilded, in fact. Ah, but of course, I pay no attention to such irrational drivel myself. Why would you bring it up?
Yeah, well, it don't bother me.
Oh, really?
Course not. Oh, I see it. The Reaper's a bit like I'm upstairs.
Him upstairs, you mean, like, God?
Yeah, him upstairs, he knows what's what, right? He knows what people are like on the inside. You won't have got the wrong end of the stick. There are some coves like that in Bogtrotter were rotten to the core. At the end of the day, I'm upstairs. We'll make sure they get what they deserve.
I suppose that's one way of looking at it. Divine justice is one thing, though. The Reaper taking matters into his own hands and claiming lives is another.
I mean, I don't think Edgeworth's ancestors killing people with his own hands.
No, I'm pretty sure that they specifically said that he must be practicing black magic because he's never involved, but they still die.
I mean, that's all. That's all what's confirmation bias.
Yeah, exactly.
A man dresses a little bit like a vampire, and suddenly people start making accusations.
To be fair, he also does drink blood red wine by the bucket.
Yeah, true.
Regardless, I ain't like the McGildeds of the world. I ain't scared. I got principles, you see. See it, I take it, I want it, it's mine.
A trait in you which is to be admired, Miss Lestrade.
Boy, just give that rest, alright?
As I was saying, congratulations are in order. The news of your acquittal was very welcome news to me indeed. Let me express my heartfelt congratulations, Gina.
So, um, um, um,
That's Iris.
There you are, Harley. How long have you been here? Get your butt back. Honestly, I went to the main entrance especially to meet you there.
Ah, Iris, my dear, I do apologize. But wait until I tell you what happened. This pair made utter fools of themselves.
What happened?
As you know, I have a penchant for disguise, and I was hiding in this room dressed as a bailiff. But these dolts didn't notice my presence at all. They had no idea. Can you imagine, Iris? Would you credit it?
I'm not sure, really.
I beg your pardon?
I'm sorry, Harley. You just don't have the weighty presence you seem to think you have. And the fact, you really ought to be careful about that. It's going to land you in trouble one day.
This is foreshadowing. I'll be careful. Ouch.
Anyway, it's such a shame. I was so hoping to throw a party for Ginny tonight. But you won't be able to come, will you? Don't look, I'm going nowhere for a while. Yeah, I heard the judge passed. I got stuff to make amends for, apparently. All the offences. What was it again? Breaking and entering. Taking the bog trust stuff was in the log, blah blah blah. What's a B&E?
Yes, I think you'll find that basically being a pickpocket is the main offense.
But that even ain't an offense. It's a job, innit? And I'm good at it.
I don't think so.
Well, think again. Still, it has got me thinking all this. Maybe I should start looking for another line of work.
Probably.
I mean, you didn't start off as a lawyer, did you, Odo?
Well, no, but I was never a pickpocket.
Well, you could be. Anyway, I reckon I can make a change. Make some change myself. I'm gonna do something for all them lot like me from the slums. Something to make a difference for them. That's a wonderful idea, Jimmy. And I'm sure you can do it. What is it? Nothing.
It's just raining in the courtroom, don't worry about it.
A terrible day for rain. But a good one, you know.
I have no idea who this could possibly be. Oh.
Miss Gina Lestrade, the prison carriage has arrived, ma'am. Come with us to the rear gate at once.
Alright. Well, looks like I'm off then.
Yes. Goodbye, Gina. And good luck.
See you on the bricks then, Odo. Oh, Odo.
Yes. Huh? What was that for?
I don't know. I mean, I wanted to. I don't know what to say, so I did that.
Ah, indeed. Perhaps the situation calls for a phrase hitherto missing from your vocabulary, Miss Lestrade.
Eh, what are you trying to say?
On occasions such as this, I would recommend a simple thank you.
Oh, well, have a thank you shot from me to you. Oh, yes. It's good advice, Jenny. But also just shoot him. Alright, I see. Well, th- thanks. Although, you really saved my bacon. Thank you for everything that you've done, for believing in me.
Not at all. In fact, that should be my line. Thank you, Gina.
Is that the only time she's taken her hat off fully?
I think so. Well, there she goes. I wonder if I'll ever see her again. Well, well, quite the indomitable pick purse.
I nearly forgot. I bought a paper outside. It's a special edition, and this trial's all over the front page. Pickpocket's innocence proven. Isn't it wonderful, Renault?
You should have thrown it to Gina Irish. She would have been thrilled.
Oh no. How silly of me. Well, anyway, would you like the good news or the bad news?
Was the crystal tower thing stolen? Is that the bad news? Not again.
Well, what do you say, Renault? Curly?
As usual, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Absolutely not. I have no intention of listening to anything but good news.
Well, there you have it. How people answer that question says a lot about them, and doesn't it?
It's not go there.
Seeing Runo's pessimistic.
Yep.
Alrighty then. Maybe. Let's start with the good news this time. The rains finally stopped. There was a record level of rainfall, apparently. The levees are full, and the reservoirs are high.
Well, that is good news indeed. We can journey back in greater comfort. Alright then, what's the bad news?
The huge storm has left the sea very choppy. Chop chop. The channel in particular is awful, so sailings out of Dover have been delayed by a day or more.
Wait, Dover?
That's right. If we head to the station immediately, we may still make it in time to wave Susie off.
But there won't be a train, surely. We couldn't be that lucky. Who do you think I am, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, Mr. Sholmes? I rushed to Victoria Station earlier and made arrangement for a special express. If we hurry now, we shall be there in time for dinner. And I know of a fine restaurant that serves the most delicious break sold.
Yum fish.
I don't... The great detective does it again. Indeed he does. I happen to be aware of a number of rail transport directors' foibles, but I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily laid on the locomotive.
So his skill is just blackmail.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever works. He is the great detective.
Just an idea, but it might be wise to stop manipulating people that way.
What are we waiting for then? To London, Victoria. Pop to it.
18th of April, 5:32 a.m. Port of Dover. Wayside.
Eastside.
Eastside? Okay.
Yes. I learned that in the strangest place.
Uh-huh.
I learned it from Final Fantasy 15
Interesting.
because there's a place called Golden Key, and that was the first time I heard anyone actually say that word out loud, while also having the spelling in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. That took somewhat longer than I had anticipated.
Sosie's boat must be about to leave now.
Mrs. Otto, where are you?
Well, that's obvious.
Over there, look! It's like she's reading something.
I feel like her model is just slightly too big for that placement.
A little bit. She kind of looks like, Lady Dimitrescu. At her, it's a really small dock. Mr. Sato, wait, what are you doing?
Instant transmission.
Mr. Naruhodo, what are you doing here?
We came as soon as we could after the trial. I mean, we heard that sailings were being delayed due to bad weather, you see.
Oh, I see. Then tell me, how did Gina's trial go?
It went well. She was acquitted.
That's wonderful. Really wonderful news.
The book you were about to throw into the sea. It was your Encyclopedia of British Law, wasn't it?
Oh dear, I was hoping you hadn't seen that. I'm not worthy of practicing law in any way now. So I was saying my final farewell.
You were saying goodbye to law? You? Susato-san?
I am above the law, you see.
Would I be correct in assuming it's because of the peephole, Miss Susato?
I deliberately altered the scene of the crime, and then I tried to hide that fact. What I did is utterly unforgivable.
That reminds me. How did you even come to have this, Susie?
On the evening of the incident, Mr. Sholmes had invited Gina to dinner, if you remember.
Oh, yes. We had a wonderful time.
Well, Gina gave us a little introductory lesson, didn't she? To the art of pickpocketing, I mean.
Oh, that was so much fun. I stole Reno's armband.
Yes, please don't do that again, Iris. That band's very important to me.
Oh, it's so important. You should pay more attention to it. You didn't notice for ages.
On a whim, I thought it would be fun to see if I could take the cat flapper-mat. So I put it up my sleeve.
It's literally anything could be hiding up there then.
Really?
And then I rather forgot about it, until I found myself in Mr. Winterbank's shop with it later that night.
It's a big thing to forget about. I see.
And then... Ah! Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes!
Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo. Right.
After Mr. Naruhodo had left the shop, I started to think that door started to play on my mind.
The storeroom door, you mean?
Yes. If Gina was anywhere in the shop, I realized it could be only behind that door. And at that moment, the little device that I had up my sleeve sprang to mind. I was so worried about Gina, I simply had to know.
So you use the cat flap-o-matic to make a peephole in the door.
As Irish as captured in a photographic print of the shop by one of Harley's red-handed recorders.
Indeed, it was the first. It was of the first importance at that point. Precisely when the peephole was made, that information would prove to be Mr. Naruhodo's greatest weapon. Though, naturally, without proof, it would have amounted to nothing.
But when I looked through the hole in the door, the sight that met my eyes made my blood run cold. Thoughts started to run through my mind. I remembered that trial 2 months earlier.
The trial of Magnus McGilded.
I thought about how he had manipulated the evidence and arranged false testimony to secure his freedom. It made the British justice system feel very dark and sinister to me. And then a terrible thought occurred to me. What if some wicked criminal was planning to do the same thing now? Because from the appearance of the crime scene, it looked exactly as though Gina had shot Mr. Pinderbeck. Even though I was sure she would never have done such a thing.
You were worried that the true culprit would try, to frame her for the crime?
That's right. But then I realized it would be very difficult for anyone to give false testimony in this case.
What do you mean?
Well, the crime appeared to have happened behind the door of a locked room. Someone to claim falsely to have witnessed it, there would have to be a way to see beyond the door.
Ah. For which a peephole would be the very thing.
Only the peephole I had made wasn't actually there until after the crime had been committed, of course. And the criminal would know that, so it wouldn't make any difference.
But the possibility of a rather ingenious trap was there, was it not? A trap? Is that why she did it?
So, is that why you kept it a secret, Jose? You never mentioned that you made the people to anyone, not even to the police.
I knew. And I knew at the time what I was doing was wrong. A criminal offense, even. That's why I decided to confide in Mr. Sholmes. If Mr. Naruhodo was completely backed into a corner with no other possible means of escape, the truth about the people could save him. That was my plan.
She really does think of everything. But then, why didn't you just tell me everything before the trial began? My dear fellow, you're not thinking straight. If she had done that, it would have rendered you complicit in the whole escapade. Ah. You could have been disbarred if you had been seen to have knowingly tampered with the crime scene. So Miss Susato decided to shoulder the burden of responsibility alone. For your sake, and Miss Lestrad's. Miss Susato.
The truth is, when it happened, I did it because I'd lost a little of my faith in the law.
Oh.
I was worried that the right person wouldn't be convicted of the crime. But the moment I allowed myself to think that, is the moment I lost my right to call myself a judicial assistant.
What you did isn't comparable to what he did. Graydon is the one who lied in the witness stand using that peephole as a way to implicate Gina. And besides, if the peephole inconsistency hadn't existed, I'm not at all sure that she would have been acquitted in the end. Miss Susato, what you did saved Gina's life.
with your kind words, Mr. Naruhodo, you've saved me too from my regrets.
Well, we must all be thankful that Mr. Lestrade's freedom has been assured. Yes, exactly. Although, some of the loose ends in that trial will continue to play on my mind, I'm sure.
But the revelation that the music box disc contains secret messages, Naruhodo. What a triumph to work that out. I'm full of admiration.
Well, actually, that argument wasn't quite as compelling as I thought it was.
Oh, it wasn't?
There is a communication officer amongst the jury members, you see, a telegraph operator. And she said the majority of the sounds on the disc were just meaningless tones. As one would expect, after all, we're talking about secret government communications. No doubt they were written in cipher to avoid being readily understood should they have been intercepted. In cipher? I see. So then we could never have hoped to understand the message anyway. Nonsense, my dear fellow. It's quite a zero-pipe problem, I assure you. So... G? What?
Well, that can't be a real word, can it? Oh, I mean, it's like a name.
Wait, Iris, what did you just say?
Oh, I just said Asoji. Does that word mean something to you?
It means something? Asogi was the name of my best friend.
What?
But how? How do you know that name, Iris?
I wrote it down during the trial before, when the messenger was playing on the music box. I'm a genius.
She transcribed it on the fly? She really is a genius.
I thought the message probably wouldn't be written out in plain Morse code, so I tried various ways to interpret it. But whenever I tried, the words just seemed to make any sense.
Ads.
That is, in English, of course. So it's like, is there a Japanese Morse code? Or is it like
Maybe.
Japanese that would put in like the Romanized version, then translated to Morse code?
Probably that.
Mm-hmm. Because, like, at this point in time, Japan still wouldn't be that much connected with the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And I don't think they had anything like that developed yet.
Okay. Speaking of Monster Hunter, I've been playing Generation of Ultimate again lately.
Mm-hmm.
So fun. I enjoy it still.
Yeah, it definitely has a unique playstyle that the other games just don't get.
Mm-hmm.
It is quite a bit different going back from World or Rise to a Generations Ultimate.
Mm-hmm. I do like how most of the Monster Hunter games actually do just have an entire evolution on their combat system every single time. Because it makes the games worth playing independently of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Wilds coming out next year.
Me too. I'm probably going to no life it.
For some real fun, go back to the even older ones and hate yourself.
I've gone back. As far as I'm willing to go back is basically 3U.
Yeah.
And 3U is rough. At least half of it's rough. As someone who's played it.
Mm-hmm. I've gone back and played 3U. 3U wasn't bad, but that was also because I started on 3U, so I understood everything. And I actually really enjoy the water combat in it. just because it's different. It's about, to me, it feels like what it would be if you stayed in the air constantly anyway, but they evolved that to be like, it doesn't make sense to have three-dimensional combat. We're just gonna let gravity have that and change, instead of having a depth, we're having a height. But going back to Freedom Unite, where it was purely flat, I could do it. It just wasn't fun, and the systems were garbage.
And the big thing I don't like about 3U is when you're on land, your vertical camera is set tiers. It's not
Yeah,
a smooth camera. I really do not like that.
yeah, that was just a limitation of game design at the time anyway, though.
Right, except they give you the smooth vertical camera in the water,
Mm-hmm. I think...
which says to me they could have done it, they just didn't.
Yeah, and I think it was remnant from previous games.
Right, it definitely was, I think.
So they would have likely, what every game studio does is take implementations from the previous engine and leave it there. And that wouldn't have made sense to do on land what made sense for them to do in land probably functionally didn't do well in the water, because we had a fully 360 degree of motion in the water. So we could swim vertically as though it felt straight, which that in and of itself makes it feel strange. But having set tiers and increments and stuff would just feel bad in the water, because you have to be able to move 360.
I mean, it feels bad on land as well.
Yeah.
There are other things that feel bad, like I hate how slow it is to go up even the tiniest ledge in 3.
Yeah.
It takes like 2 minutes to go up a ledge.
Yep.
Like legitimately almost like a minute and a half to get up the ledge, it feels like.
That, honestly, that's why I sometimes still wonder how Patrick and I were able to figure out where things were most effective paths, and we just never really ran into that unless we didn't kill the monster fast enough. Like, speedrunning it was almost essential to being able to feel good while playing the game.
Yeah. I do feel like 3U is vastly inferior to 4U, though.
Oh, indeed. The mount locking not existing.
Well, I mean, 4U is also incredibly unbalanced. Like, Insect Blade and Charge Blade were way too strong. Mounting was too strong. The tier 3 levels of skills were too strong, like Evasion +3, Critical Eye 3, Attack Up XL, that kind of stuff.
It was also brutal on the other end, too, because level 141 guild quests were awful.
Yeah. But you didn't technically have to do them. You could beat all the monsters in the game without doing those.
True. They were required if you wanted to max your armors. Which I do remember learning to solo Shigaru at 141. That was fun. It's a lot of not fun in it. A lot of randomness and felt like input tracking with an algorithm.
Yeah, he's a lot more fun. Well, I shouldn't say he's a lot more fun. His fight is quite fun in Rise.
I think my brain is just so accustomed to the amount of crap that it throws at you from 4U that when I fought him in Rise, I was just like, huh?
But you haven't fought the Risen version of him yet.
No, I haven't.
That's a very fun fight.
I still remember the drastic difference in my two files from 4U. Because there was like the multiplayer one, basically, where you guys helped me along a lot.
Oh, your two files? Yeah.
Then there's the one where I got all the way up to the final hunt before G rank by myself.
Null and Nell, right? Null was the multiplayer, Nell was the solo.
Yep. And what was the G rank monster in that one?
The G rank final boss? It was Gogmazios.
Right, yeah.
Unless you're talking about
The big
the
snake
one to
thing.
go from
Oh,
hunting to
Dolometer.
That. Even that, like, I couldn't beat it in the end, but I didn't, like, fail the quest. I managed to still do the subquest thing.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, Dolometer is rough to solo. It was a
He's
fun
very
fight.
large.
If you do it perfectly, you can solo it, but that's asking a lot. Same with Gogmazios. Gogmazios was one that I could solo, but I hated.
We had to do that quest so many times
I know.
because of your data corruptions. I had to do that stupid quest like 25 times.
I know, I did it more than that. I probably did it about 50. Just because data corruptions, on top of me wanting the armor spheres and gems that I wanted that needed as parts,
Mm-hmm.
it was bad. And I also ended up making a couple of his weapons.
Mm.
Anyway, that's a very long sidetrack.
That'll be alright. It'll lead into World of Monster Hunter at some point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is in English, at least.
Oh,
It suddenly occurred to me, you see, there's more than one Morse code, not just the English variety. Various countries around the world have altered and added to Morse code to use in their own language.
I don't believe it. Are you saying...
That's right. I've only actually seen a chart of Japanese Morse code once before,
So they did have it at that point.
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's based on the Iroha program, isn't it?
Panagram.
What's up?
Panagram, not program.
Pentagram. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, pentagram. Pentagram.
And you mean to say that in Japanese Morse code the message says asogi?
Yes, I think so. Sorry, but I don't remember all the Japanese Morse code.
Iris, would you let me see that?
Miss Susato, do you know it? Do you know Japanese Morse code?
Yes, I spent some time studying it.
Of course.
Because I'm quite sure
Convenient.
Morse code will become ever more important for international communications.
Then might I recommend, my dear madam, that you focus your efforts on the English version?
Be that as it may, Iris, show me the message, please.
Of course. Is this gonna be our lead into the next game?
Potentially. That or maybe a extra case.
Hmm.
But what could this possibly mean?
Whatever is in that long sequence of supposedly meaningless dots and dashes, it's made the color drain from Susato-san's face.
There's no doubt this message is written in Japanese Morse code.
So, the British Empire has been using Japanese for its secret communications?
I don't understand the reason why, but the message appears to be a list of 4 people's names.
4 names?
The first is Kei Asogi.
Mm-hmm. Kazuma Asogi? Why is his name on that disc?
Second is A Shin.
Shin? I don't recognize that name.
Third is D. Gregson.
Gregson?
Ah,
It would seem Tobias Gregson is the 3rd man on the list. And what is his name doing in a secret government communication as well?
I mean, if anything, I would expect his name a little more than the other two.
Yeah.
And the last name,
What's the matter, Mr. Sato?
is Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Yeah.
it's just so strange, so unexpected.
oh, what is it, Susie? Don't keep us in suspense.
The last name is J. Wilson.
Oh. So,
Is Iris's dad?
yeah. John Wilson.
What?
Wilson?
John H. Wilson? You mean Daddy?
It says only J. Wilson, so I'm afraid I can't be sure. Then after the four names, it reads, if I translate from Japanese, that is all four. That's the end of the message. Or rather, the end of what you noted down, Iris.
I just can't believe it. Who would ever have thought? So that's interesting because the person who killed Professor Wilson in the first one was an English woman who she was found guilty, but also just deported back.
Interesting.
And she actually just straight up assassinated him. And we don't know. I don't think exactly. No, Kazuma died from as an accident. But now that
It's
is-
called into question.
yeah, which also means that Gregson is probably in trouble, perhaps a target, and
Yeah.
now we have a mysterious fourth character.
This Shin
Yeah.
person.
That all those discs contain Japanese Morse code. Not to mention a strange list of some disturbingly familiar names. It would appear this particular message is a communication of some kind between Great Britain and the Empire of Japan.
So, Daddy could be in Japan then, where Susie and Reno come from.
Oh, well,
Right, they connected the dots but never told.
No, it's not very likely, really, is it? I mean, there are thousands of people with the surname Wilson. There must be a lot of J's among them. Should probably tell her.
Probably. Professor John H. Wilson, visiting professor of medicine at Imperial Yume University. We can't tell Iris about that now. We just can't.
We
Is
have to
there a
save
better
that for the next
time?
game.
Next game where it actually becomes an issue, like, why didn't you tell me?
That's
Yeah.
gonna be like the intro case.
Yeah, probably. This is so strange. Somehow, in solving the case of Mr. Windibank's murder today, I feel like I've rolled back a boulder at the mouth of a very dark cave.
I do wonder if perhaps it's a dark cave that we shouldn't go wandering inside.
Probably, but are we going to? No, let's split up and search for clues. Like the meddling kids we are.
I'll go with Daphne.
Unk.
Oh dear, the ship is going to set sail soon.
Yes, it seems so.
I'll sail on that steamship first to the port of Dunkirk in France. Then I'll change onto a larger passenger vessel bound for Japan.
You're really going then, Susie.
We wish you a safe passage, Miss Susato.
Thank you so much. I wish all of you the very best.
Miss Susato, I had hoped to have you always at my side to guide me and support me.
Mr. Naruhodo,
Please, come back soon. As far as I'm concerned, you really are the very best judicial assistant in the world.
I'm quite sure I'll be back before you know it.
Intro case is
No.
she's on trial for murder.
That or she's the victim of murder, like Mia.
She's gonna come back as a ghost then?
Yeah, probably.
So she gets murdered. She's on trial for murder. Before it concludes, she gets murdered, starts another trial, and she comes back as a ghost to point the finger at who killed her in the second trial.
Exactly. I already like where this is going.
I mean, just as like a average day in the Ace Attorney series.
I know, right?
Just ask the clown girl with the balloons. Really, Susie?
Oh, now don't forget, Iris, I made you a promise I've yet to fulfill.
Is this how she knows the name of her book? I promise.
About your manuscript.
Ah,
Oh yeah, the Hound of Baskervilles.
Well, I'll be waiting for you, Susie. A promise is a promise.
Definitely, Iris. Mr. Naruhodo,
Yes?
do you remember the first time we met?
Yes, of course. On the SS Buria when I was dragged out from that wardrobe, still half asleep. If I remember rightly, you threw me halfway across the cabin with a Susato takedown.
You know very well that I'm talking about after that.
Oh, you did ask the first time, so.
And technically, it's not the first time. They met in Japan.
It's strange, but being thrown together as we were in that case, I somehow felt straight away that you were the perfect person to continue Kazuma-sama's great legacy.
Miss Susato.
And my instincts were right. I really want to believe. No, I'm sure that I'll be back soon. Farewell until then.
He is not coming back.
The foreshadowing is strong.
The death flags are real.
It's gonna, the boat's gonna sail out in the distance, and it's just gonna be a big mushroom cloud.
The boat's gonna leave port, and it'll zoom in, and it'll say the Titanic on the side. No matter how little sense that would make.
Feels as though fate has led me on this journey.
Oh, he is talking. I couldn't hear him.
I still find it weird they just let him walk around with the sword.
Fate led me to becoming a lawyer,
I think
traveling
it's,
halfway around the world.
Like, I know it's like
meeting a
ornamental.
great detective.
well, it had already been argued by Cosmos to
I'm sure there'll be
actually
trials and
be allowed.
tribulations ahead.
So
Of course
I
there
guess it was nondescript. You can carry sword around, Mr.
Whatever
Law Guy.
happens,
I guess.
I know I'll be able to turn my fortunes around.
I mean, the other guy has a sword too, yeah?
After
True.
all, I have the greatest friends in the world on my side.
So he usually like keep studying law here in England. Is that the plan?
Yeah, he was, because Cosmo was supposed to be a foreign exchange student for law
Gotcha.
practices, so he's taking on that. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, Mr. Sholmes? I have some rather awkward news. The railway company has decided to sue over the special express train, apparently. Huh?
It caused such a commotion on the line. All the other trains had to wait at the stations.
But really, we never would have made it to Dover in time otherwise. Anyway, I explained everything and how it was all your fault. Huh? What? I believe a formal complaint should be delivered to your office tomorrow. But not to worry, my dear fellow, according to Mr. Sato.
You love defending yourself in court.
Huh? Huh?
It's all right. I'm perfectly happy to testify for you. He really didn't look the sort of man who'd do something so outrageous. See?
Mr. Sholmes?
Hijacking a train, I never thought he had it in him.
Yes. A word, if you don't mind. Why, certainly. Any word you like. Blow it out, my dear fellow.
Oh, yes. I love Ronald's words. And now, just the one he'll use here.
Then I really must say,
Objection!
credits? I guess?
Yeah.
Yep.
Shutakumi.
Good thing's credits I have to go to watch it for like the past 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this thing would end, and it has not.
I'm surprised there was still an hour and a half left in this.
Mhm.
Insulting detective by comparison.
Is you gonna have like a little blurb from each character through the credits?
I guess.
Looks like it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't slept a wink. The mental scripts do. When I'm busy, Harley usually cooks me breakfast. Well, cooks is an overstatement. For some dry toast and some insipid coffee. I do miss Susie and her lovely Japanese breakfasts. That was my fast.
Yep.
Mhm. I think this isn't really meant for like reading.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably not.
Witness, your testimony is riddled with contradictions. This is just lines from the first trial.
Mhm.
What is up with that guy's mustache?
It's because his child keeps pulling on it.
He's an ancestor of Wario.
Sure he's not an ancestor of Waluigi?
Well, Waluigi's is straight mostly.
Yeah, but Mason said it was his child's pulling on it, so it must have been straight to begin with. It's what's his name from Bleach, the Quincy guy.
Hosonaga. Are you you're talking about
Ichigo's friend.
yeah.
Urayama?
Uryu.
Yes.
Uryu, there you go.
The one that coughs up blood.
Only sometimes. And only when it's for dramatic effect.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, did this guy like do anything?
He showed up once, right?
He showed up a couple times. He's basically the head of the law in Great Britain.
I mean, he's the one who had Gregson under orders, didn't he?
Yes.
I kind of thought he would like do more.
Same. I thought he might be like an imposing figure and somehow just be evil, but you know.
I feel like they should have had him like bring his model in to the courtroom when they're going back and forth between Naruhodo and Edgeworth. You just have him appear behind Edgeworth, not say anything, look around, and like disappear back like Homer does through the bushes.
Mhm.
Like, yes, this court is courting, and leave.
But like, I made a deliberate voice decision with him and everything. I thought he was like gonna show up
Couldn't be
again.
important. I like how the most important thing about Gregson though is him struggling to drink the coffee from Iris or the
Mhm.
tea. Well, this is over. I need to go to the washroom, so I'll be back.
Alrighty.
I don't think I would do that.
Nah. Nah, he can do what he wants.
But like stirring the thing with your smoking pipe just seems like gross.
Yeah, he can do what he wants. Hunting out small change in the gutter.
It's also kind of odd just because I don't know most of these people.
Yeah.
That seemed like it wasn't a thing she said before.
No, it seems like only some of them are.
Okay, this definitely.
Yeah. Still posed with them. I guess it had to be done at some point because they were showing that it would happen.
Mm-hmm.
You missed the 3 of them posing like Power Rangers.
I mean, they're just from a JoJo screenshot, so it's okay.
So the other thing you missed is some of these people seem to like actually say a different thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, some of it was new lines, some of it was old.
gotcha.
Like Gina's was that she's gonna be in jail for a while for the other stuff.
Ads!
It's wacky.
You wanted to be included.
What a group shot.
Yeah. The picture makes it look like he's really close with Sholmes.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, maybe he is.
I guess he could be. I know this is a McDonald's commercial that's playing right now, but it definitely looks like a Space Dandy commercial.
Ah, now they're just taking us through different credits. I'm gonna move this
This
out
is
the
like
way.
real credits.
Yeah. People they can see the credits.
Yeah. Apparently that McDonald's or WcDonald's sauce is pretty decent. According to
Mhm.
some people.
I think it's just gonna walk us through the cast. That's the lady. She done it. She done did the
She
murder.
looks suspicious.
Also, look, his mustache is straight.
Yeah, so he's Waluigi.
Yeah.
He's a distant ancestor of both of them.
It's possible. Maybe his kid is Wario's ancestor. He instinctively knows what shape the mustache should be.
And therefore must change it.
Yep. The ad break has finished.
Kazuma has a bit of a power walk going on.
Yep. And that is where he ends.
Who is that?
That's the person who accidentally killed Kazuma.
Ah, accidentally.
Yeah, her cat escaped into his room via the vent, and then, quote unquote, accidentally, she kind of brutally murdered him when she thought that he was going to give her away because she was technically a stowaway.
Mm.
Mhm.
Oh, there's that guy.
Yep.
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
People from the first case.
Yep.
That thumbs up picture looks like he's just holding an invisible gun.
He's
He's
chucking
flipping a
coin.
coin.
Hmm.
He's like, psh,
Catch a coin. Is again.
toss a coin to your Witcher. That's what he's doing.
Yep. Toss a coin to your
Valley of
defendant.
Plenty. Up there. I don't recognize blonde-haired chick either.
She was, easily confused. I don't. When did y'all start doing
With
this?
the moon face and the tenant in the basement.
Okay, yeah. No, they were part of that case. They were the Bobbies on patrol.
Hmm.
Well, the Bobby on
blonde
patrol.
girl?
Yeah, and that's his wife.
Oh, I don't remember her at all. Not
She,
even a little bit.
he was sleepy. She was the one doing half his testifying for him.
Mm.
I only showed up for this last case, so I have no idea who they are.
The Skelkin Bros. Big Bro Salty. I like Gina. I think he's probably my favorite character.
Hmm. Gina.
Shoot him.
It's gonna peg him right in the back of the head. I'm waiting
Probably.
for it.
Now,
All of
see,
them look really awkward walking except Susato.
Hmm.
that might be a missed opportunity that they just had there,
It really is.
because they could have had her like fire one of the firework things forward.
The end.
That was a very, very long epilogue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was like an hour and 40 minutes almost, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hour 38.
Man. Naruto, Ryunosuke's haircut's not nearly as cool as his friends.
No.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, and I guess that's where we're gonna end today. Definitely don't have the energy from Monster Hunter. I need
Mhm.
food.
Mhm.
So if you're lurking, thank you for lurking, and I will be back tomorrow. I'm probably gonna start Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2.
Is that the card game one?
No, I just did the first half of Recoded. I got through Sora's story, and I'm like, I need a break from this before I do Riku's, if I do Riku's.
Gotcha. So then the 358 over 2, that's the one with Aqua as the main character?
No, that's 358 over 2 is Roxas's story at the time of Chain of Memories, which is the card one. So Chain of Memories and 358 over 2 happened simultaneously. The one where Aqua's the main character is the 2.8, A Fragmentary Passage, and Birth by Sleep. She is one of the 3 main characters.
Gotcha.
And that
So
was
then 2.8.
one of the DS games, yes?
What?
The 358 over 2, that was a DS game.
Yeah, it was a DS game, as well as Recoded, which I don't know if I'll play Recoded. I probably will. It's just Recoded is weird. I'll probably do it. It's just kind of a drag as well. It's not one of my favorites.
Gotcha. Are you just playing through them, or are you doing like 100% stuff on like 1, 2, and 3?
I'm just playing through them, and whatever I don't get cleaned up by the end of them, I'm just saving for, I'll do like a 24 or 36 hour stream and just run through them doing, cleanup stuff.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah. I just want to have fun with it. I don't want to be like, I must do this perfectly, and not, because, like, I like the lore of the games. It's fun.
Mhm. Yeah, I just wasn't sure how you were doing, because I know you've played them several times.
Yes, I have played all of them many, many times.
It's like me with Metal Gear.
Yeah! The lore, just the Sleeping Realms theory is like 400 pages. And that's a glossary part of the lore. There's so much. 'Cause that only, that's like basically comparing a couple of things from the timeline before Dream Drop Distance versus after it, and like during 3. So
Gotcha.
it's really covering maybe 3 games out of the 12, something like that, 7, 12, I don't know.
Mhm.
There's a lot.
Hmm.
Alright. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and end stream. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your whenever, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.